Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the Diatone GT-M200 frames here. Got the normal X version here and the stretched X version. And let's just go over the normal X here first. Very interesting design. They actually share the same cage for both of the frames. The only difference between the two is the arms and the way the arms are oriented to give you the normal X or the stretched X configuration. Now the arms are 6 millimeters thick, very, very thick arms. Very unlikely you're going to break them. They are kind of skinny. You're going to have a pretty major crash to break a 6 millimeter arm. Very simple construction actually. There's a retaining plate here, and then you have an aluminum base plate here that these screws go into, and then you have 4 screws that go from the bottom through the arms as well into the cage. And that holds it together, and you have a slot here for your battery strap and a nice flat surface for your battery on the bottom. You have these 2 screws here in the front that you could remove, and I removed them already. And so if you want to remove those, you can have easy access to your components in here by lifting up the cage here, and obviously you probably have to disconnect your camera. And it just pivots here right on this little screw, and you have a little SMA retainer plate here, and you can adjust the angle to whatever you want. If you want it pointing back or up or whatever, you can use this to adjust your angle for your SMA antenna. The cameras that these frames will use are only going to be the micro size cameras, so it's going to be the ones with the 19 by 19 size boards, so you can't use any of the mini or full size cameras, and they just have a single screw here that locks the camera angle. Now you are able to put a GoPro on here. There are some 3D printed parts where you could actually stick a GoPro on top. It'll screw in over here, or you can use these bars on top to hold the GoPro mount. So that's how most people are using their GoPro right here. You can set your angle here to match the angle for your camera, and I've seen some videos of those are actually pretty good. Okay, so here's the dimensions of the True X frame here, and this is about 208 millimeters motor, and it's about 145 millimeters front to back, and side to side it's actually a little bit wider, about 147 millimeters. Now you can see here on the stretched X frame it's much longer front to back than it is side to side, and it comes in about 228 millimeters motor to motor. The side to side distance is about 140 millimeters, and the front to back distance is about 180 millimeters. So a couple more things I wanted to make a note of here is that the cutouts for the motor mount is kind of interesting. It looks like it can take 22 size motors and also 18 size motors. It's got a little bit smaller here, so you could perhaps make a very light 5-inch racer with some 1806 motors perhaps, and I haven't actually tested it, but it looks like that's possible because it looks like that screw is a little bit smaller than the one that's in the further part out. The arms themselves are chamfered. The stretched X version does not have epoxy on the sides here, just on the top layer and bottom layer. But it looks like the normal X version here has the epoxy on all sides of the arm, on the sides here as well as the top and the bottom. And it's just possible they may have changed the way that they produce the epoxy layer or resin on the carbon pieces. Okay, so here's the bare weight of the frame with no electronics. The normal X comes in at about 107 grams, and the stretched X comes in at about 112 grams. So another thing I wanted to mention is that it only takes 30 by 30 stacks. It does not take 20 by 20s, although you could probably put a 20 by 20 stack in here with some sort of a 30 by 20 adapter. That could be possible. And then there's not a lot of stack clearance height here between the bottom and the top of the cage, so I'm just going to show you an example of possible flight stack you could use. This is the Holybro Cutouts F4 with the Teco S BLHeli S 4-in-1 ESC, and it's a pretty low stack. You can see it's about that high, like so. And if we put the cage down, we'll line up the holes here. That's about how much clearance you've got between the top of the flight controller and anything else that you want to put in there. So in this case I probably won't be able to use the at-ladle video transmitter. I'll probably have to use some sort of a micro video transmitter or something else and attach it to the top of the cage here. You probably don't want to put anything on top of the flight controller here. This particular one happens to have that gyro, so you don't want to be putting anything on top of that. So this frame does have limited space, so you're going to have to be creative as to what kind of components you want to stick in your build. Anyway, it's going to do it for this review of the Diatone GT-M200 frames here, the normal X and the stretched X frame. Pretty interesting frames. I'm not sure if I'm going to be building these or not. I might build one or the other. Let me know if you're interested in the stretched X or the normal X, and I might consider building one of these. I'm not exactly sure which one, or if I'll build either one at all. But if you are interested, do let me know in the comment section below. If you have any other questions, also let me know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.